Hey, if you're getting this video, you've either booked a call, and if you haven't, go ahead and book one so we can chat. So my name is Abner Coelho. I run fundablecore.com, and what we do is help business owners become fundable and guarantee $100,000 minimum, regardless of credit, time of business, or revenue. And we've had some amazing calls, amazing questions that come with that. But what I wanted to do was take the time and answer some of those in the video. I would love our call to be more focused on you and your plan and how we get you there, as opposed to some of these things that we can answer, in this video. So please, set aside 3 to 5 minutes, however long it's going to take. And, if you can think of anything else above this, please write them down and we can talk about it. All right, let's get started. Now, here's the biggest question. How do I get business funding, right? And ultimately, we need to be fundable: credit, cash flow, collateral. We'll get into that a little more, but every single day there are millions of business owners and aspiring business owners who want to buy, start, or grow their cash flowing business. But they're not qualified to get there on their own, and they need a little help in a legal and ethical matter, of course. That's where we come in. We've put together a fantastic team of advisors. We're lawyers, tax professionals, bankers, former SBA folks, just to make sure that we can fine tune this to your current situation and shop you to the right lenders for the right products. So we talked about credit, cash flow, collateral. Look, normally, if you're looking at credit cards, 0% financing, those things that we see all over the internet, they're going to want 700 score and minimal, if any, blemishes. Now, we have, as part of the program, a free credit repair and optimization program. So if you're not here yet, we can still get you started. There's options if your credit's not all the way up, but we would love for you to get enrolled, get started on repairing and optimizing your credit. So if we have to go in for additional rounds, we're able to do that and have a higher chance of success in a shorter time frame. Our written guarantee is our written guarantee, regardless of how that shakes out. Additionally, cash flow. A lot of lenders' sweet spot minimum is about $10,000 a month. We work with a lot of folks who aren't there yet, especially if you've got a proof of concept, if you just have an idea, but you're looking for funding and you know that you're going to be able to make some cash, that's where we come in, right? There's definitely options and where we can structure business plans and financials so the lenders can see what you can make and base the raise on that. Collateral. Now, really popular option is our asset-based loans, not ours, excuse me, but how we structure that. Chase, Bank of America, America wants a 5 mil minimum, so we won't talk to them unless you want to do 5 mil or more. But a lot of banks out there will do less than that. We just want a dollar for dollar match. So you may not even need us if you have a home, car, other forms of collateral. Of course, through our program, we do include $100,000 of accounts receivable, and we help you put that on your balance sheet so we can use that for the raise. And of course, we have additional accounts receivables that we can help put you on your books, and that's available for literal pennies on the dollar. So our program is designed to be essentially $0 out of pocket. Now, there are refundable deposits along the way, but again, those are intended to be self-funded as you raise, and you'll receive everything back in the end. So those are two, and the next big three that we get are going to be, will this affect my personal credit? Well, that's a tough question because it depends. So the way we structure the two main phases of funding, we have a first tranche and a second tranche. The first tranche happens about 48 hours after you receive your shelf course. So you can go from nothing to first round in under 10 days. This is based on a soft pull. Now, the better your credit, the better those results, right? And so we can go in for additional rounds, like I said, but that's what I mean. It won't affect you as far as a hard pull. So if you are working with a credit repair company or you have a current, situation, whatever that may be, this won't affect that at all. Now, like I said, we may have heard me say our guaranteed $100,000 minimum. How are we able to do that? Right. And everything we do, everything we discuss is in writing. And so there's nothing that I'll promise you or say to you that I don't have written on a piece of paper that you sign. So I'm accountable to you as much as, you're accountable to us for performance and participation. So how do we guarantee that? First, you put the $100,000 of accounts receivables on your balance sheet. Will help you repair and optimize your credit. But ultimately, we're going to take a good look of where you are and shop you to the lenders that make sense for your situation. There's about 4,000 lenders that we work with through the partnerships and the decades of experience between the team. And so as part of the loan package, we'll assess where you are and match you with lenders that are primed to say yes to where you're at. Now, this all hinges on you also doing your part, right? Communicating with us, turning things in on time, filling out documentation, etc. This program is, I'd say, about 95% done for you, but there are some things we just can't or won't do, opening bank accounts and, signing contracts, things like that. So we take care of most of it. All right, what kind of loan are these? So I get asked a lot, what are the interest rates? What kind of loan are these? A lot of high interest loans or high interest finance products out there. Merchant cash advances being something that we hear about a lot, which it's not really a loan. It's more a draw against future receivables, I guess you could say. But what we're going to do is we really work with more blue chip lenders. We want to make sure that we can get you the correct product for your situation. Again, we don't want to put you in something that's going to be a detriment to you. Ultimately, I'd like you to come back to me for your next 3 to 5 shelf corps. And so I need you to be set up for success, get the capital raise, and hopefully you come back to me. If not, you're able to do it on your own. But we're here to be here for the long run. So, we've got lines of credits, equipment financing, of course, the ever popular SBA loans. We're able to do real estate. We've got a really great way to show you how to do 0% real estate acquisitions. Also business acquisition at 0%. So if you're somebody who's, seen the man in the castle or the man from Maine, if you guys know what I'm talking about, we're able to help you do things like that too. Our financing, so that's what we mean. So we have the accounts receivables. We can help transfer them to you for minimal cost. And so we can do a dollar for dollar match. And that is the easiest, I'd say, way to raise the capital and with less friction. We can help you find some grants, investment capital. A lot of different programs out there, 2012 Jobs Act, and different crowdsourcing and crowdfunding things. So lots of fun things that we can help you with. But again, to get you the raise, we may have to do a combination of debt and equity, if it makes sense. And if it's something that you're looking for, we're able to do that. What is the cost to get this done? All right. So like I said, this is designed to be $0 out of pocket when it's all said and done. But to guarantee, if we're able to do this for $0, it would make a lot of sense. Nothing for free, people respect. But this, like I said, this is a $10,000 service. Our lawyers have to get paid. The professionals have to get paid. The accounts have to get paid. But we have a partnership, and those folks have gotten a grant. They're a 501c3 registered, and they've got a national grant, so they're able to cover about $7,500 of that, and the other $2,500 is a refundable deposit paid up front. But once we've all met our obligations, you do get that back to you. So it's a really fantastic program. Are we a lender? Like we mentioned earlier, no, we're not a lender. There's enough lenders. This is just a team of technical advisors and loan brokers. So just keep that in mind. How long does this take? It's a great question. So again, the better your cash flow, the more collateral and the better credit, the faster this can be. But roughly speaking, it takes you about 7 days to get the shelf core, 48 hours after that to get in the first round of funding for well-qualified buyers. But if your credit needs a little help, we'll have to get creative on the products and loan packaging. So that's where some of the time extends, right? So as far as SBA, if we're ready to go today, we can get you offers oftentimes in the same day. But if we have to get creative on how we're structuring things, and then that takes time. So why is this around? Why do people buy shelf corps, right? So it's not something that's very talked about and spoken about in a lot of circles, but it's essentially a cheat code. You're able to structure this outside of your personal credit. And so if you do have credit challenges, this is a great way. If your current business, if you're drowning in 3 to 4 rounds of MCAs, you're struggling to make payments, raising on that entity is going to be very difficult. And so regardless of your situation, we're able to set up a fresh entity, get the trade lines in, usable trade lines, right? We're not talking about Granger, Uline, things like that, and base the raise on that credibility. And if you've got good credit, again, you can PG some things, personal guarantee, and that will help drive things forward and get you the bigger approvals faster. But if you're not there yet, we'll help you get there, but also find different products that you can do. Again, our partners are licensed, bonded, insured to be able to do this. And everything we do is legal, ethical, compliant. Those are our 3 values here. Like we mentioned, how long has this been around? So, as a group, decades worth of experiences between the SBA and the banks and the lawyers and the accountants and the consultants. So this is a very well-stacked team doing it for a very long time. And now we're being of service to you. Okay, here's the boogeyman. I like to front load this. So if we've talked, I've probably talked about it. There's a performance fee, right? So you can take everything we talk about, you can build it on your own and go do it yourself. And that's perfectly okay. You're not going to hurt our feelings. So if you've got a collateral, if you've got credit, and if you've got great cash flow, go to Bank of America, go to Chase, go to an SPL lender, and just do it yourself. No problem. But for folks that don't meet those qualifications, or they want the help, or look, a lot of business owners, they're busy. They want to run their business. They don't want to sit around and shop around for the best rates and prepare a loan package and just have those things be done. And so that's why we exist and why we charge a performance fee. So if you need help before or after the raise, that's where we fit in. So what are you paying for? The fees you pay primarily for the shelf core are the legal transfer of that entity into your name and making sure the collateral can be on your balance sheet and getting the documentation up to game. All right, so the big one. How much funding can I get? So our bottom, $100,000. If you're only looking for 50 or 60K, use the rest of that to pay off personal debt, pay off the loan, and have a larger credit line posted, to the business credit. But ultimately, we guarantee 100,000, and getting you qualified for up to 5 million is relatively simple. Any more than that, we start to become technically, on a technical basis, is what I mean, a little more complicated. And so if you are looking for 5 million or more, let's have that chat. At that level, now we're talking about a use of funds that's a little more qualitative and quantitative. And so we'll chat about that. But if you're not looking for 5 million and you have collateral, the use of funds becomes less important. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, just how much is going to be up to you and what you qualify for. If you need help qualifying for more, we can get you there. Obviously, there will be some additional costs incurred if you need collateral, but we can go in for as many rounds as you need. And so if initially you only qualify for the $100,000 and you're able to get that in your pocket and I'll say, hey, I want $1 million, we can do that. We can take some of the funds you just received, we can get some additional collateral and go in for another raise. So it's almost like an infinity loop of cash if you do it right. And that's our goal, ultimately, is to give you a entity that you can raise on again and again. And you may or may not need us for the next one, and that's okay. But we've done our part, and you're better off for it. All right, well, that concludes it. Those are some of the most frequently asked questions. If you've got other questions outside of that, please let us know. If you have a chance, email them to us or prepared, or we can answer them on the call. And we look forward to chatting. Thanks.